Mic check 1 2 1 2. A mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. A mic check 1 2 1 2. All
Does
right.
this look stupid? Off the shoulder, or should I just do like that?
Did off shoulder?
Like that?
I don't know. I feel like it's Atlanta-ish. Here, go for it. All right. So, like it. Look, can it be like
something came off.
Yeah. Well, this was. There.
Okay.
Fresh. Welcome to Consequences of Our Culture podcast, where we discuss various topics through the lens of some seasoned African American individuals. And not just seasoning, there's sauce in this seasoning too. Like, you ever made ribs or brisket, it takes more than sauce sometimes, You also throw a little seasoning in. All right, today's topic is, got you, Alabama versus Georgia. All right, so a little background. So I lived in Alabama my first 22 years. Then I lived in Georgia for the next 7 years. And then I moved to Colorado. And I've been there for like the past 2.5. And what about you, Steph? Where have you?
Okay, so I grew up kind of in Alabama, in between Alabama and Georgia. My dad is from Atlanta. All his side of the family is in Atlanta, so I've been going, spending summers and holidays in Atlanta my whole life. So Georgia is definitely like home for me. So yeah. And I actually just moved back to Alabama from Georgia. I was there for about 6 years because I went to school out there. Went to school at Georgia State, the real GSU. And if you know, you know.
What's the other GSU?
The other one is Georgia Southern, and they don't really count.
Right.
Yeah, Georgia Southern University, but we the real GSU.
Shout out to Statesboro.
Okay. No, but after graduating, moved back home to Montgomery, and so I've been here for about 3 years.
Okay.
Back, so.
Yeah. Well, so both of us have experienced the cultural differences and blase of Alabama and Georgia. And, this is a fun little episode. If it's up to me and I say which one's the best, I would say Alabama.
No, Georgia. All day for me.
Wait, where you say you were born? You were born in North Carolina?
Yeah, but
But you lived in Alabama most.
Yeah, kinda. I was a military kid, y'all, so moved around a lot.
Okay.
I grew up really between New Mexico, Mississippi, and Alabama, and then Georgia sprinkled in my summers.
New Mexico?
New Mexico.
Mexico?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, military brat, so, it's just...
Damn.
But, I claim Alabama.
But Georgia's better?
Georgia is definitely better.
In what?
Like, it's the diversity of, like, people that you can get, at least in Atlanta. Okay, yes. I know the surrounding cities, but the rest of the cities don't really matter, okay?
Diversity of people?
But yeah, you can,
Diversity of black people.
Diversity of black people, for sure. I never had the amount of teasing and issues that I would have here. When I go to Georgia, I was finally a part of the crew. Like, I was finally, black enough.
I don't know.
In air quotes.
You were older. Maybe if you went there when you were,
Well, that's what I mean as a
middle school,
kid. Because I spent my summers and holidays there my whole life. I've been going there. So when I'd go visit my dad in the summers, I would hang around with the neighborhood kids from, when I was like little, back when, it was cool or like it was safe for kids to ride their bike and be gone all day. Like I never had issues when I went to Georgia with like hearing that, oh, you talk white or you talk too proper or whatever. Like I remember I could always go there and find my people because it's a pretty diverse group of black folks there. And, and then when I went to school at Georgia State, it was also a pretty diverse group of white people as well. I mean, I learned about white privilege from a white male. So, and that doesn't happen in Alabama. It just doesn't. It's racist, and Georgia's racist too, but you can at least find your area that like you can, be in. Here, it's like both sides hate you if you don't fit in. If you're either not black enough or not white enough. It's just...
Yeah, well...
It's getting better. It is getting better,
so
I'll say that.
There's definitely bits of racism in both states. And, like, I know, like, some people be like, oh, well, I haven't seen any racism in Alabama or racism in Georgia. Well, you're not paying attention.
Clearly.
But, as far as, like... being like, so Georgia has two, in my opinion, like two like liberal pockets. They have Atlanta and they have Savannah. And,
I don't know much about Savannah.
Yeah, and everything else is kind of like good old boys and shit. In my opinion,
that's what I've heard. I've been blessed, and I have to deal with that.
I've been fortunate enough to like move around Alabama and Georgia, but like what you said about Alabama is true. Like you kind of get attacked by both sides, but isn't that the beauty of things? Isn't that what makes it beautiful?
No,
like think of like how tough and forged like a real Alabama black person is. Like they have been through like and then Alabama's poor as fuck, so a majority of them like have been through like fucking poverty.
Horrible and hospitals.
And like they've been through poverty, prejudice, like all the shit. Like all they know is the fucking struggle,
Yeah, that's true.
And like you ran away to Atlanta. It's kind of like you cheated. You cheated. You left us back here to deal with all the bullshit.
I mean,
it's hot as fuck, and you just dipped and ran away. It's hot in Georgia.
Yes, it's hot in Georgia as well. But I mean, hey, it's only but so much, mistreatment I can take. It's just, I just feel like, the only thing that's beautiful about Alabama is the scenery. Like I will say that it's really green here.
Yes.
The weather is great. Yeah. And they have the most beautiful sunsets. And I don't care what anybody says. I know that sounds insane, but Alabama really does have some of the most beautiful sunsets I've ever seen. Nowhere else have I been where everything looks like it has a filter on it. The purple and pink hazy thing where it looks like everything has just been painted over with a rose paintbrush. Like it's just the most beautiful thing. And it's kind of sad that this place is so beautiful, but the people aren't. Like...
That's true.
Make it make sense.
I can say, and I love Alabama, but I can say like it's as far as like people. Alabama's more of a natural beauty. Like it's a bunch of, like you said, greenery. Yeah. Like it's like you go to a lot of places, and this is for Georgia too, but more so Alabama because I feel like it's less built up than Georgia because Georgia has like like Atlanta has an anchor, but like. There are spaces in Alabama that like almost look untouched, and it's like so like beautiful if you enjoy like nature or just being out. And it's not like Colorado. Colorado's beautiful, but like you'll be out and you'll feel like you've traveled like a good you hike like a good 5 miles, and you feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. There's nobody else here. And you just like look around, and eventually you hear like 3 other people. It's like, damn, But Alabama, like, you could walk 5 miles in some direction and you could be by your damn self. Like, it could be not a person, a soul, like,
Yeah.
forever. So it is that, like, that beauty and that, like, openness and naturalness and, like, freedom. Not like, the freedom we want, but, like, freedom.
Right. The illusion of freedom.
Yeah. And, no, but I feel like Georgia is just like, it's like
sunsets,
it's a more. I feel like Georgia, Mississippi, and Alabama are all kind of the same thing. I feel
They're
like
not though.
I feel like Georgia is a more populated Alabama, and Alabama's a more populated Mississippi.
You would think that, but it just, to me, I feel like for one, they don't have the beautiful sunsets in Mississippi or Georgia, but we're talking about Georgia right now. They don't just, there's nowhere else that has the pink, purple haziness. Like, nowhere else has that. I haven't seen it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably the sulfur.
And I feel like I don't know what it is, but it's beautiful. And I feel like the weather, like the bugs and stuff it's like always worse to me in Georgia.
The bugs are worse in Georgia.
Yeah. I think. I could be wrong. I really
So
don't
the bugs
remember.
are pretty bad both places because I
Yeah.
was fortunate
But I
to
feel like
leave and see like, oh shit, there's not really bugs in certain places, but like I feel like Georgia's state bird is like the mosquito. Like real shit.
I feel like I
that shit-
normally get bit up more when
And
I'm
yo-
in Georgia versus
and like
Alabama,
my
but-
whole life, like so I would see wasps, right? And my dad would be like, "Hey, don't worry about it. Don't mess with them, and they won't mess with you." And that was true in Alabama,
Yeah.
but in Georgia, never been stung by wasps till I moved to Georgia, and I was stung like 3 times there,
Yeah.
and I was minding my fucking business. They were just like, "Oh, see this motherfucker over here, calm and shit. Fuck him," shit like that on sight. But like so. As far as food, and I know like they're both Southern cuisine and stuff, but like, is the food better in Alabama or Georgia?
I think they're about the same.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I will say the best
I know. I
Jamaican
know which one I'm about to
restaurant.
say. Oh,
Yeah.
the best Jamaican
Yeah, the
restaurant?
best Jamaican restaurant I've been to, it was better in Alabama than in Georgia.
You talking about that place
'Cause,
off of Dexter Avenue?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Island Delight. Shout out to Island Delight.
Yo,
Like, and if you really want to get super authentic, you got to go to the one that's right outside of Maxwell Air Force Base. The
and
Bell
state
Street
your
Gate.
Jamaican expertise. Like, tell them why you know.
Oh yeah, because my family's Jamaican.
Yeah.
On my mama's side.
All right.
So so I know what it's supposed to taste like, and it's great.
Oxtails and
Just-
shit.
Yeah.
Nah, the best Jamaican food I ever had was in it was in Savannah. And it was, man, shit, I couldn't tell you where it was, but it was in like a strip mall, and it was like on the bad side of town. And honestly, I feel like those mom and pops, those bad sides of towns, those little hole in the walls are like the best restaurants. And like
Most of the time.
Alabama has more of those. Cause it's kind of like
Yes.
everything in Alabama's like
Everything's all in the wall.
all in the wall. And I'm telling you, like they got the jumping like barbecues,
Yeah.
like the shacks, like the stuff that's like, man, like there was a thunderstorm like a couple of days ago, and he's like, man, I wonder if like Bojo's barbecue's holding up. And you go there like Bojo's holding up by a thread. Like I'm telling you, like a strong gust of wind would knock down Bojo's. But they've been making barbecue there for the past 70 years.
my
And that
gosh, I've
shit's
never
fire.
heard of Bojo's.
Like I'm talking about the shit they serve you out the window, and it has the fucking line around the corner and shit like that. And then you got all types of people. You got like people wearing suits, people wearing like the t-shirts with dirt all stuff in them, like blue collar, white collar. That's when you know it's something. It's special. Like they did something. Like they're doing something, and that's pretty much what Alabama's made of.
Yeah, Hamburger King is another good hole in the wall spot. That's like, it's super tiny. I think you can, yeah, have you not heard of it? You gotta go.
This in Montgomery?
Yes, it's I forgot what street it is, but it's like towards downtown, and going towards that Arba Street exit or whatever. But it's like, I mean, it's real small on the left side, easy to miss.
Sounds so familiar.
And you can go up to the window and order to go, or you can go inside. You can sit down, but I mean, they have like 5 seats in there. But it is so good. Literally the best burger I've ever had. Like.
Really?
Yeah. It's like handmade.
Damn,
I think it's the best burger I've had.
That's a deep claim because everyone serves burgers.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Like, they're pretty, like, standard, right? Yeah. But something about it, this place, like, it was... I'm trying to think where else I've had a really good cheeseburger from.
Oh, and
I don't know.
Another point for Alabama, it's like, come on, like, the barbecue, as far as food, like, the barbecue, like, you got places like... countries, Dreamlands. Jim and Nick's came from Alabama. Like,
oh, I didn't know that.
Man,
that makes sense though.
Full Moon. Like, I'm trying to tell you. Like, you don't understand.
Okay.
Like,
but Georgia does have some good barbecue spots. I can't remember them, but I know I've been to several like hole in the wall spots that have lines wrapped around.
No lie, I was in Georgia, and I passed by a sign over a restaurant that said, "Real good Alabama cooking." And that's how I knew I came from the motherland. I was like, yes. Like, yeah.
In Georgia, you saw that?
I swear to God.
Wow. Okay. Okay. I still love Georgia. I still think Georgia's better. Because at the end of the day, barbecue and sunsets just cannot outweigh good people. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you have you have good folks around you, I feel like you can get through anything. But
I take the barbecue and sunset to 5,000. No, like, I don't need people, but I do need barbecue. And I do appreciate the sunsets.
Okay, at the end of the day, to be honest, as an adult, either one, it don't matter. They the same. They're different, but they're the same. Like, now that I am older, I feel like, people in Montgomery, like, you find your tribe, you find your people, and they're not all, not all black people are rude, or not all white folks are racist, like,
Right.
But at the same time, like, just remembering just my overall experience of living here, Georgia's always been better for me. There's more to do.
That's true.
Because there's nothing to do here. And that's the other problem. Folks don't have nothing better to do than to hate and be mad and racist and whatever else.
And the heat makes people crazy.
Right. Because there's nothing to do. You just sit at home and you just do nothing. And, so, but in Georgia, you can go to Atlanta, go downtown somewhere, go to Midtown, go to Buckhead, go somewhere. There's always like something going on. There's some show. They have a great underground music scene there too. So college days, I was always at, some hole in the wall spot, listening to some up and coming rapper or singer. And, so I mean, it's just, Georgia makes a regular, like, random Wednesday night feel like a Saturday night,
That is true. It's
just amazing.
I was here in Alabama, Montgomery, last night, and I wanted something to do, I didn't want to interrupt you, you out with your people and shit. And then, I hit up Amber, and I was like, hey, what is there to do? And I was like, you ever been here? And she was like, yeah, but we were like the only people in here. And I was looking up the times, like a lot of places like close early and shit.
Yeah.
I was about to go to San Marcos too, and they were closing at 9. I was like, what the fuck? Who the fuck closes at 9?
Because remember, that's what happened to us the last time.
Right.
When he came to, which, by the way, y'all, Randall's from, he lives in Colorado right now. So
I think I said that. They know.
Because you mentioned Colorado earlier, but I don't know if we actually said.
Yeah. I live in Fort Collins, Colorado, but I work in Denver. But Yeah, like everything like closed early. And I know in Colorado where I'm at, like so in Fort Collins, they have College Drive, College Street, whatever. And like it goes to Old Town and it has like, a good amount of bars and stuff. And I feel like, late at night, I mean, you could always end up at a bar or something like that. And but like, there's just like college. I don't go like during the college year because I want to be, out there with the college kids. But also in Denver, you go. My job's in Lodo, so lower downtown, and
Okay, I was like, what is low?
there's a ton of bars there. There are, you could just go from one, literally like 2 doors down, there's another, and you could like just do that like most of the night. So, it's a better nightlife than like here. And I got back here, and I was so used to doing that, and I was like, well, damn,
Yeah.
shit, So
I think that's the it for me as well. Like I think coming back from Georgia, where I always had something to do, always somewhere to go. I was never bored. To come back, I think that's why Georgia is king for me. There's just nothing to do here. I haven't been able to meet people.
okay, as far as the beaches, so
I never went to the beach.
you never been to the Golden Isles or Savannah or Burswick or Brunswick
Sure didn't.
or Kings Bay. Okay, well, if I would have to pick between like the beaches down, in Mobile Bay area or Savannah area, I would definitely pick the Mobile beaches. But as far as the nightlife, though, I can say that I feel like the nightlife in Savannah was better. Like, you had Bay Street, you had River Street, you had like a few places in Tybee Island. It was a steadily, it was a good amount of bars, and like Atlanta and stuff. I mean, not Atlanta, Savannah, and yeah. But okay, cool. We'll take a short break, and we'll reconvene. Yo, what up, though? Welcome back. We are here, and we are continuing our discussion on which is better, Alabama or Georgia. And a great talking point that we haven't brought up yet, it's very important, especially if you are considering moving, to Alabama or Georgia, is education.
Yes.
Education is very important, like for people who have children, raising children in a certain environment, having them get, a better understanding of things. And I have my opinion, but what is your opinion on the education? Which is better, Alabama or Georgia?
See, that's what I was just gonna look up and see like the statistics on the best places for education or whatever.
Statistics. What's your opinion?
I mean, I don't know if I really have an opinion because I didn't go to school in Georgia. Formative years.
Right. But you did go to.
I went to Georgia.
School,
like a college.
College in Georgia and Alabama.
True. Okay, yeah, I went to a private school in Montgomery and then went to public school in Georgia.
Yeah, it's probably best we don't point out that private school.
Yeah,
maybe. They probably don't like black shows.
Yeah.
Black thing.
I will stay, I just...
The color.
I just actually read something that said Alabama was one of the worst places to have children. So
I can believe that. I mean,
I know
as far
I
as
said,
poverty,
I
they're
heard-
like next to Mississippi for
yeah,
last, right?
definitely for poverty. So I mean,
And same for education.
Yeah, education I know is really bad. And so I mean, I would assume that Georgia's better, but I don't know. I mean, okay, I loved my school. I loved Georgia State a lot, and I mean, and it felt like I was getting a good education. No. And then I don't know if I can really compare it. That's the thing. I just don't think I can compare like a huge school like Georgia State and then the smaller private school in Montgomery. Like, I mean, I feel like they both were good institutions for what they were offering, and so I mean, but the other one in Alabama was definitely more racist. So
I can say that. So I've had children go to schools in Georgia and in Alabama, and I can say that like the school in Georgia was better. The schools in Georgia were better than collectively the schools in Georgia were just a little bit, not that much, better than the schools in Alabama. And I can also say like the schools in Colorado made the Georgia and Alabama schools look primitive, like
I bet.
I'm stepping into the future, but
yeah.
It's a blessing. Anyway, I think we're gonna wrap this up. I feel like we've beat it, the Georgia and the Alabama, horse long enough. Everyone's entitled in anything. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, and like, if given the choice, there's some places in Georgia that I would rather live than Alabama, but ultimately, like if we're speaking vaguely, I'd rather live in Alabama. And
that's because you're from here. I think that's because you're truly an Alabamian,
When did you move here?
I was 15. So
when you moved from like New Mexico and
when
shit?
I moved from Mississippi.
Oh, Mississippi?
Yeah, so I mean, I was in New Mexico till I was 10.
You're from Mississippi. You should
and
appreciate
Mississippi
anything you
till
get.
I was 15.
Mississippi.
And then Alabama until I was 19.
Yeah.
So I mean, I grew up really between all three of them. They all three of those states kind of had an influence on me.
That's so sad.
But yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's all good. I'd rather have influence of all three than just Alabama. I know that much.
Yeah.
Like, it ain't awful. Like you said, and these are all just opinions, y'all. None of this is fact. But I mean, Georgia all day for me, okay? That is the one. I can say that Georgia was like my one like central like location that never changed. No matter where I moved to, I was always in Georgia for the summers and the holidays. So I count that, like, I can say I'm also from Georgia. I feel, that's a big part of my life for sure, So yeah, so Georgia for me. If I had the choice today, if I could find my dream job, I would move back to Georgia.
You would.
Yeah, if I had if somebody offered me the best job, exactly what I'm looking for, good pay, I'm out of here, okay?
Okay.
And I don't mind saying that on camera because my bosses know that too.
That's perfect.
They know. I'm out of here. I just bought a house, but I can sell this thing. I can rent it out. I'm out of here.
It's a nice house.
Me and my dog Kane, we packing it up and we getting back to Georgia. So yeah, it's Georgia for me.
All right. Well, with that said, make sure you follow us and, subscribe and
hit that like button.
Yeah. And
subscribe, hit the notification bell.
My name is Randall.
I'm Stephanie.
And Roll Tide.
Yeah. Now that we can agree on, Roll Tide for sure. Georgia State ain't got no football team. Like, no, it ain't very. They're getting better, I've heard. Yeah. But that first game I went to, ooh, it was bad. I remember, I don't know nothing about football. Right. Yeah, maybe we just kind of wrap it up.
That's a short one. Yeah.
But I feel like, I think the more we talk about it, the more that Georgia is the best one.
Mine doesn't. That sucks.
But more things to do, nicer people.
I always thought that sound when they're scratching records was like really cool. That's pretty cool.
Okay, it's like normal, but when they, because it's just like every time that they've been so like in the beginning, like the first couple of days, just been like short of saying I love you, just like I'm really into you and all this stuff, like it just doesn't last. Every time, like something's gonna happen and it falls apart. It's gonna be right when I like give, like get into it and I'm like, okay, yeah, you know what, I think I do like him. That's when when the shoe's gonna drop. I'm gonna find out that something's wrong with him, or he's gonna decide, oh, I got too much going on, you're too good for me right now, I just can't focus on whatever,
All right. Welcome to Consequences of Our Culture. Oh, let me give it a good break before I start. All 4 cameras on too. So that would be your camera while you're talking, and those 2 cameras right there got both of us, and that camera's mine. Welcome to Consequences of Our Culture podcast, where we go through many different various topics and subjects, and we give our opinion through I forgot how this goes. I was trying to see if I could wing it.
I actually have a question anyway. Can you hear this?
Yeah, a little.
Okay, I'll try not to move too much. Like you hear all that. I hear it like a lot in mine.
Oh, well,
like
yeah. I don't know.
Like but, you can hear just...
Yeah, but I can't hear it.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.